How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just finished watching the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, so I decided to do a review for it. This is going to be a spoiler review. I'll be talking about the whole show and spoiling all of it, so if you haven't seen it, go watch that show first and then come back to this review. And if you're new here, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So with that out of the way, let's get into this review. So Obi-Wan Kenobi was directed by Deborah Chow and sees the return of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, as well sees the return of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker, and also has James Earl Jones doing the voice of Darth Vader once again. So overall this show was good. Overall was good, but not great. They did some things I was like, wish they didn't do it, but there were parts of the show that I thought were great, and I think if they focused on that, this would have been a really great show. And that part that I wish they focused more on was sort of the dynamic between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. In the first episode, we get to see where Obi-Wan is 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. And I really enjoyed that he's on Tatooine, he's keeping an eye on Luke, and he's just he's down because the Jedi are pretty much wiped out. He failed with Anakin Skywalker, so I thought that was great. And then later on we find out Darth Vader's looking for Obi-Wan, and to this point Obi-Wan thought he was dead, Anakin Skywalker was dead, but no, Darth Vader's alive and looking for him. And I think if the show focused on those two characters more, like you still need maybe another storyline with Obi-Wan to get him sort of to come back to, you know, be a Jedi again. But if the story focused more on Darth Vader obsessing over finding Obi-Wan and then Obi-Wan doing his thing, take out that Inquisitor character, what was her name? Reva, I think that's what her name was. Anyway, that character, she's focused a lot in this show, and I think they could have done it without her entirely, or just put her in a very minor role, because I don't want to sound bad towards the actress, but I just thought the performance was kind of flat, but also I just thought she wasn't written very well. She didn't have much to her, not much depth. They do a twist with her to sort of give her make her more understandable character towards the end of this show, and personally I could see it coming, because before that there's not much motivation for her doing what she was doing. I'm like, I have a feeling they're going to do this, and which was make her a youngling who saw Anakin kill all the other younglings and Jedi. That's what I was expecting because of how the show started. And so she's there, she's trying to find Obi-Wan for Darth Vader and make her way up with more power, with being like the Grand Inquisitor, whatever the title is. But her real motivation is to get at Darth Vader to kill him, although he knew her plans the whole time because, you know, he's powerful. And so that was like, yeah, okay, it's understandable, but didn't really feel like it needed to be in this show. And then later in the final episode, I almost loved the final episode, but her part in it really just held it down for me, because in the 5th episode, second and last, she finds out about Luke, and that I guess it's Darth Vader's son, even though Darth Vader still doesn't know he has any kids. So I guess her plan for this one, in the final episode, is to go kill Luke the way Vader killed the younglings. I guess even though Vader has no idea he has a kid and has no emotional connection to them, so I'm like, yeah, that will really teach him a lesson. Kill somebody he has no idea exists. Because even when he later on does find out Luke's his son, he becomes good again because of his son, but he still had no problem cutting off his hand, and a couple of times coming kind of close to killing him. So that whole storyline, I just thought in the last episode was just kind of pointless, because obviously she doesn't kill Luke, and it's just like, oh, she decides not to, and she sort of becomes good. I'm like, honestly, this show didn't really need that character, in my opinion. Could have just been written out and focus on Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. So yeah, that wasn't my favorite part of the show. But Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan was great. I love seeing him back. He was great in the role. He was great at just being like sort of the beaten down, just not wanting to be a Jedi because of what happened, and that, you know, if he's a Jedi, people are going to go after him. but not completely given up because he's keeping an eye on Luke and his family. And then what does draw him out, I get why it would draw him out eventually, but I wish they didn't go with this storyline, was Leia is kidnapped, as a 10-year-old girl. So he is recruited to go save her and bring her back to her foster parents. That I didn't like, just because I feel like the era of being with the Skywalkers in Star Wars has passed and we should move on. I wish they didn't focus on the Skywalkers like Leia throughout the show, and then in the final episode focus more on Luke as well. I wish they did something different, because I love the Skywalkers. I love that original trilogy, but I just feel like it's time to move on, explore different parts of the galaxy. So I wish they went in a different direction. There's still great moments. I thought the little girl who played Leia was great, and there's some fun moments between her and Obi-Wan. And that's another problem of mine, is I thought in A New Hope that Princess Leia didn't actually know who Obi-Wan is. Like, she knew of him, but hadn't met him. But by the end of the show, it's clear she knows that Ben, he's going by the name of Ben at this point, she knows he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I thought that was a bit of an issue. Also, there's a moment when, excuse me, he actually meets Luke. And again, it's like, I remember in A New Hope, Luke knew of Ben Kenobi, but the way it was going about it made it seem like he hadn't actually met him, he just knew of him. So those are minor things, kind of, but yeah, that's sort of kind of breaking canon a bit. It was also great to hear James Earl Jones voice Darth Vader again. I mean, that voice scene is iconic, so that was just great. And when we did see Hayden Christensen, in a flashback, and we see part of his face in the final episode and bits of him throughout, I enjoyed that. Like, for a while, you didn't really get any actual Hayden Christensen. It was just Darth Vader as Darth Vader, and the voice, he was just walking around doing the movement, some lightsaber fights, and I was like, was there much point bringing Hayden Christensen back? But later on they used him more, and I enjoyed it. The first time Darth Vader and Obi-Wan have a lightsaber duel, I was personally underwhelmed, and I get Obi-Wan wasn't excuse me, being a Force user, a Jedi at that point, not as much. It had been 10 years, he's out of practice, but it just felt kind of underwhelming the way they choreographed it. It was just sort of But their final confrontation last episode was great, and I think the way that confrontation ends is probably my favorite moment of this entire show. Excuse me. And what happens is Obi-Wan, he's got the upper hand on Darth Vader and ends up with his lightsaber cutting part of his mask off, and you see part of Anakin Skywalker's face. It's been burned. You see his eye. It's sort of got that coloring of the Sith colored eyes, and for the makeup there and the lighting actually made it kind of look kind of scary, which I loved. That was cool. It just made it creepy. And at the start of that moment, after like when Obi-Wan sees Anakin Skywalker's face, at least part of it again, it's actually kind of sad. Like the look on Ewan McGregor's face, he did such a great job with the sadness, and he's like apologizing. He's referring to him, as Anakin again, and I love that. And another thing that was great that I thought Deborah Chow, the director, did was when they're first talking in this moment and Darth Vader's being more Anakin Skywalker, you got the blue light on his face from Obi-Wan's lightsaber. So it's blue, which is, what good Jedi have, who's on the light side. They have, blue, green, purple, whatever. But it's blue. And then there's a moment when, Obi-Wan's saying how he failed Anakin, and then Anakin said, "You didn't fail," and then he says, "I killed Anakin Skywalker." I, as in Darth Vader's side of him, killed Anakin Skywalker, and he was just becoming evil again because he's always been conflicted. The evil part of him sort of in control. He's choosing the dark side, and then now the lighting is red from his red lightsaber, which is what the dark side have, and I just loved that. I thought that was a great use of color and imagery. That was that's my favorite, and I wish the final episode was more like that, because then I think it would have been great. It just kept being pulled down by the other story of Reva, again I think that's her name, going to find Luke to kill him because she thinks that'll get back at Darth Vader, even though Darth Vader has no idea who Luke is or that he exists. And yeah, so if it focused on more Vader and Obi-Wan, it would have been great. And obviously, another issue I have, and it's sort of to be expected because it's like before A New Hope and other Star Wars, is with Obi-Wan, Luke, Leia, Darth Vader, and Luke's aunt and uncle, is you're not really worried about them because you know what their fate is already. And none of them die in this show, and you knew that going in. So that takes away some of the, I guess, suspense or whatever. Like, you're just not as concerned because you know what's going to happen to them. Overall, Obi-Wan Kenobi I thought was a pretty good show. I love the stuff with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. There's some great moments, even though I didn't love the fact that they focused on a young Princess Leia in this show. There were some good moments with her and Obi-Wan. And again, that Reva character, I think this show could have done without completely and just focus more on Obi-Wan and Vader. But other than that, it was great to see those characters and cast back with, you know, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and James Earl Jones's voice. That was great. So overall, like I said, it's pretty good. I would give this show a 70% overall. So guys, if you've seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And be sure to stay tuned for some of my upcoming videos. I'm still going to do a ranking of all the Pixar movies. That was originally going to be this video, but then I realized the final of Obi-Wan just came out, so I watched that instead. I'm still doing that, and as well later on be continuing my James Bond movie countdown with Goldfinger, so stay tuned for those. And again, if you're new here, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So until my next video, take care everybody.